afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are. Welcome to another Nerd Nation stream. We're here with Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 7, Chapter 15. And you know what? If you see my face and you see Mando's face, you know that he's a fucking believer, even if I have no idea who the believer is. Nevertheless, let me introduce you to my colleagues. First of all, I have with me Ginger Greek. How you doing?
Good as gold, baby.
And we also have cousin Cheeto, overworked Cheeto. Welcome back to the job line, Cheeto. How you doing?
Oh yeah, I didn't change my name from yesterday. Oops.
Now, by the way, I actually thought this episode was going to be called The Convict, but no, it was called The Believer. And I had a hard time figuring out who the believer is. Maybe we can talk about that at the end of this review. But this was definitely the Bill Barr episode. This was really focused on him. I felt like he was the main character of this episode. Bill, yeah, I apologize. I got William Barr in my brain. All right. Yeah. So we first of all begin this episode. We find Mayfeld dismantling Imperial scrap in the Republic hard labor camp. He's interrupted by a droid who hands him over to Cara Dune, who's basically released him. So there's not a jailbreak episode a lot of us expecting. She's already using her power as a Republic officer to release him, but only temporarily, because he has to go back in jail. What he's done is just too harsh, but they need him. They take him to Slave One. And he sees Boba Fett, and for a brief moment, he assumes Boba Fett is the Mandalorian. He goes, "Oh, I thought you were some other guy." And then, boom, Mando walks down, and he shits himself. He probably assumes that he's going to get killed. But Mando basically tells him, "Listen, we know that you're a former Imperial officer, and we need you to get us information on where the hell Moff Gideon is." Roll the credits. That's how it begins. What do you think? Start with you, Ginge.
Well, the opening shot was beautiful, of all the scrap yards and people just, breaking it all down for parts and that. That was nice. But the fact that Cara Dune just shows up, like, "Oh, you come with me," is just like, well, there goes the prospect of a jailbreak episode. So I kind of guessed what was coming next. And it's like, well, that was disappointing already. And we haven't even started yet. As for the rest of the intro of the characters, blah, 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 whatever.
Isn't it good, though, that maybe to a degree that, it wasn't what we were all assuming it was going to be, a jailbreak episode? It was something else. Isn't that good?
It would have been if it turned out to be something a lot better than what we were expecting.
Fair enough.
Given what we got, no.
Fair enough. Cheeto.
I mean, I'm glad it wasn't particularly a jailbreak episode. It's definitely the fetch quest type thing, oh, gotta go here and do this and yada yada. So the opening segments was really cool. It was nice to see, the prisoners. I for some reason thought it was going to be on a spaceship again. I don't know why. I don't know, but no, it was great. I was okay with with Cara Dune coming in and, just basically being like, "All right, you're coming with me. Let's go." And I love how she just walks away and he's like, "Wait a minute, where am I going?" And then the droid's like, "Move. You better move. Fucking move." And then he pulls out the thing and I'm like,
"You went Ed 209 on him, yeah. You bet 3 seconds to comply."
So yeah, great. I thought it was great that we kind of wrapped that up really quickly. And yeah, so then go ahead and continue, I guess.
No problem. So we get into the interior of the Slave One. We see it now. It's all rotating and shit to keep things. What's that shit called? Anyway, but it just basically keeps them level because obviously the Slave One, the way it's designed and stuff, you'll be all over the fucking place when it's like that position to that position. So that was pretty cool to see more of the interior of the Slave One. Basically, Mayfeld, he tells everyone else that there is a secret Imperial base on a planet called Morag, and there'll be a computer there which will basically tell them where Gideon is, and it's their best shot of finding Moff Gideon. So they go off to Morag and they infiltrate the base, and so they have to infiltrate the base. And Mando decides that because of the rest of the team are all recognizable, Cara Dune being a rebel person, Fennec Shang having lots of bounties on her. Boba Fett basically looking like all the fucking clone troopers, having a recognizable face. So it has to be the Mandalorian as well as Mayfeld who infiltrates the base. Now, before we get to all the action scenes, from seeing the interior to that little moment with them having to decide who infiltrates the base, what do you think? I'll start with you, Cheeto. I'll start with you.
Are we talking about before the truck, right?
Just before the truck. I'm going to get to that in a sec.
Yeah, that was fine. I mean, Boba Fett got a new paint job on his armor, so all those fanboys.
Totally forgot. I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, I forgot that.
The interior of the slave one, it was really weird. It felt really weird just in the way it rotated. I didn't care for it. But I don't know. Nothing really stuck out to me at this point of the episode yet. I actually liked some of the stuff that happened later on. So. Turn it over to Ginger.
Before we get all to the good bits.
Sorry, go on, Sam.
Now, before we get all to the good bits, the interior, that little moment when they're deciding who's going to infiltrate, what do you think?
Yeah, just for me, it was the only interesting part was the planet Morag, because I'm pretty sure I've heard of it before.
I've heard that name before. I feel
Star Wars. Then I forgot to Google it until now. You've brought it up. Then I might Google it later if I remember. Other than that, bog standard scene about infiltration. I'll be honest with you, I paid absolutely no attention to what was going on inside Slave One, the rotating thing. I don't know why I completely zoned out from it.
I think there's a couple of times I did too, which is why a second watch was so required. Anyway, Mando and Cara and Mayfield, they hijack a sort of tanker truck which is carrying I think it's called Ridonium. Yeah,
Ridonium.
That's the first time I've heard of it. Is that known in Star Wars universe? It sounds very Star Trekky. No? Anyway.
No, I've never heard of it before. I mean, I'm not huge Star Wars, but I've never heard of it before.
Okay, so we get two sets of action scenes. We'll start with this one first of all. We get Mando, Mayfield, and Cara hijacking that transport. And after they beat up some of the guards, there's only two people driving that thing. Mando decides to wear an Imperial uniform, so he still covers his face because he's wearing an Imperial helmet as well. And him and Mayfield, they go towards the base now. Sorry, I apologize. Now, Mayfield's actually trying to have small talk with Mando. Now, you say Mando talks too much, but this is now Mando in work mode. He hasn't seen Mayfield in a different light yet. He's just sitting there quietly, not even moving a fucking inch. Reminds me of one of my customers in my cab a few months back. He's just sitting there, and he's trying to talk to him. No small talk. We see destroyed vehicles. We see a small little village as well. And we see some people there. And obviously, when it comes to the Empire, and this is more conversation Mayfield's having with Mando, he's basically telling him, it doesn't matter what side you're on, rebels or the Imperials, these people, they're still living in shit. And it was an interesting moment before we got to an action scene. What do you guys think of those little moments in the car before shit kicked off? I'll start with you, Ginge.
Well, for me, the standout bit was actually having Mando in silent work mode. Just being quiet. This is a guy he's fought with. Why is he trying to make small talk with this person? And that made sense. And it was nice to see that. It was nice to see Mando not yapping away to trying to describe everything. I think this was one of the few episodes where overall he kind of kept his talking to a minimum, and it really worked for the character.
I think it worked for Mayfield especially because we got a lot more his character, somebody mentioned in another stream that for all the shit they've done with Finn in 3 movies, we got more character development from an ex-stormtrooper with Mayfield in 30 minutes than we did with fucking Finn in 6 hours. And it's so bloody true through the course of this episode. Roberto, regarding that little moment before shit kicks off, what did you think of the interactions between Mayfield and Mando as they're driving the truck?
I knew at this point that they were setting him up for a redemption arc in this episode, So I don't know. I mean, obviously he's not going to be sticking around, but I knew that he wasn't going back to the prison planet at this point. I figured it was going to be a, you know, I'm going to look the other way thing, or Mando would have looked the other way, and then he would have told, you know, Cara Dune and all them that he died. But, you know, at this point, I knew it was a redemption arc for him. I could tell just the way it was building.
Yeah, fair enough. We then get into another action scene. We see, first of all, we see and hear explosions, and we don't know what the fuck's going on. And then there's some information coming along. And regarding this tank, by the way, if they go too fast in this tank, the Rhydithium or whatever the fuck it's called will explode. But they're now being chased by pirates, and these pirates have been blowing up all the other tanks, and they're going to try and blow up this tank. Now, this is a bit weird because they're fucking pirates, and they're trying to not steal shit. They try to destroy it. Finding it a bit weird. I mean, what's the purpose?
They're not. It seemed like they were more freedom fighters than pirates, you know?
Yeah, I just went by what Mando said regarding his particular reference. So we get Mando. He comes out. He has to like take care of these motherfuckers, but he's not wearing his traditional armor. He hasn't got his fucking toys, but he is a badass fighter, and he takes out lots of the pirates. They just keep coming. Like he takes a few of them out. Another batch comes, takes a few of them out. Even throws a fucking grenade at them, a thermal detonator. That was the what I was looking for at them, and takes out two convoys at once. But it's still not enough. Even more fucking come along. And just at this particular moment, I thought to myself, okay, something's going to happen here, and it did. Fucking TIE fighters come down, shoot off the rest of the pirates. Stormtroopers come out in heroic music, saving them all. And then as the tank drives in, it feels like the stormtroopers are like rebels now, because they're all fucking high-fiving, clapping, and all that shit, going woo, 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 like a fucking Oprah Winfrey show. You know, it was fucking really interesting to see the stormtroopers and the Imperials in general almost in the light of the rebels after they saved Mando and Mayfeld. So when shit kicked off up to this moment, Ginge, what do you think?
Well, I mean, visually, this was a very nice scene. The choreography with the fights and all of that was great. Logically, it was fucking stupid beyond belief. Everything about it was just stupid. You know, you've got 10 thermal hand grenades is enough to just blow up the convoy without needing to land on it or do anything. You know, you see that bit at the end, and then why don't you just radio in for help? If everything's getting blown up along the way, the TIE fighters come right at the last minute to save them.
Yeah, but it looked good.
It's one of those where it's just enjoy the visual, because logic is gone out the window. It's Fast and Furious levels of stupid. So just enjoy the visual for what it was. And it was nice. It was pleasant. It was enjoyable. But
Mando
logic
kicked ass.
Completely fell apart. Yeah.
I mean, Mando really looked good. I mean, didn't have his toys, didn't have his armor, was still able to hold his own. You know, improvised really well.
Yeah, his ass kicking was brilliant, but that's about really, it.
Yeah. Cheeto.
I mean, yeah, I thought that that Mando looked really good without, you know, all of his stuff, and he was still kicking butt. It felt very video gamey at this point, where, you know, you can't let the truck go above a certain level. I'm just like, and then of course, you know, towards the end of this fight, when like before the TIE fighters come in, you have your Captain America Endgame moment where it's like, he's like, all right, I'm gonna fight these guys now, even though there's four flyers coming at me. I'm gonna fight, and they're all got like thermal detonators lit. I'm like, what are you gonna do with that? Like, you know, and then of course the TIE fighters come in, like, you know, like the Doctor Strange portals open up, and it's just, I'm like, oh, okay, so we got our endgame moment for Mando, I guess.
Yeah, weird seeing the stormtroopers in the heroic light, but seeing them also like almost did they remind you almost like the rebels?
Yeah, it felt very, very A New Hope when they got back from blowing up the Death Star. I'm like,
yeah, back on.
I mean, that's kind of one of the parts that I was like, I don't know why, but I like this. Like when they were pulling in and the troopers were all happy and the Imperials were all happy. And maybe it's because when I was younger, I played TIE Fighter and I sympathize with the Imperials a little bit, because I kind of like that side of it as well. You know, I like both
Well, I
sides.
mean that part makes sense as well because they're not just robots.
Yeah.
I mean, so even as bad guys, they're gonna salivate their moment of victory.
Yeah, and I mean, and oh, go ahead. What?
No, I was just saying that that part wasn't for me the stupid part.
Yeah.
That part made sense. So all the other stuff.
Hello there, Sport Photo. How you doing, mate?
But anyway, but what was I going to say? Oh, and just the part before it, the action sequence was really good. The visuals were really good, like Ginger said. The video gamey part, I was kind of like, all right, well, I guess we're doing the video game thing where it's like Assassin's Creed, protect the whatever while it's running down the road.
Or every mission in Just Cause.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I did have another point and I just lost it. So come back to me. Ginger, did you go? You already went. So I guess I'll just forget about it.
All right, no problem. So we're inside the base now. The next. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I got it. I'm sorry. Why? Okay, so we did bring up about that they're pirates, but I was sitting there scratching my head like, if they're pirates, why are they trying to blow this up? They're like freedom fighters.
Earlier. It's weird. But that never really got explained.
From the villages, but they're not. They're pirates, and it's like it makes no sense whatsoever.
No sense.
So
yeah, I agree. I agree, and maybe one day we'll find out more. But for the moment, I have no idea what the fuck they were doing and why. So we're inside the base. So as we know, they have to find a terminal so they can locate Moff Gideon, and
whatever terminal has the exclamation point above it in this fetch quest.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. So now Mayfeld, he knows that he sees a terminal in this canteen, and he's about to go inside the canteen, and he immediately recognizes an old Imperial officer. Now I forgot his name. I'm not sure if his name got brought up in the show, but I'm just going to call him Imperial officer. Now he's a bit worried, because he was just a regular stormtrooper when he's under him, but he's just still worried that he might recognize him. So Mando decides to access the terminal because he won't recognize him. But when he goes up to the terminal, he has to show his face, and he then does something which was pretty cool. He takes his helmet off and he reveals his face, and he hasn't got any of the scars. His face doesn't look too sweated up. He hasn't got fucked up helmet hair either. He looks all right considering the last time we saw him. And he accesses the terminal, gets the information, but then he's stopped by the Imperial officer who was known by who Mayfeld knows, and he starts asking him some questions. And this is where you probably see Mando is most vulnerable because you can see Pedro Pascal's face, and he just doesn't know what to fucking do. He doesn't know how to react, and he's getting thrown questions by the Imperial officer. But Mayfeld comes along at the last second and basically makes out that Mando is a bit of an invalid, doesn't know what the fuck's going on, he's got bad hearing. He hasn't, he's not working up there too well. And that kind of passes well because the way Mandalorian's expressing himself, he might as well be that sort of person. Sorry, I do apologize. Now, after that little scene, the Imperial officer decides to have a drink with these guys and brings them back to the table. And the moment they all sat down, and from some of the camera angles, I got vibes of Inglourious Bastards. I'm not sure if you did, Ginge.
No.
Have you seen Inglourious Bastards?
Yeah, didn't like it.
All right. There was a scene when they were all chatting around the table, and then they, the free and the free. You remember that scene?
Well, I watched the film in ages.
Anyway, it reminded me of Inglourious Bastards. Yeah, I do apologize. And this Imperial officer, he brings up a story of the Cinder. Have you heard about that? Do you know what I'm on about regarding the Cinder?
Well, it was talking about it. I remember that part, but I don't know.
Well, in Battlefront 2, in the story mode of Battlefront 2, after Palpatine dies, he sets, he has this plan in motion to basically destroy everything. And he's got these fucking satellite things, the Cinder plan and shit like that. And he's talking to Mayfeld and the Imperial officer talking about it. And this is where you get some PTSD because they killed off their own people, their own troopers, even when they were setting these things off, because a lot of the troopers were on the planet. But they want, Palpatine's plan was to destroy everything immediately when it came to the galaxy, it came to the Empire. He wanted if he can't have it, nobody can have it. and that was the plan. And they killed so many people with this particular thing. And when this officer was talking about it, it ate him up. It ate Mayfeld up so much, he pulled out his gun and shot him. So I'm sorry I've talked a lot. We'll talk about these moments. So the moment they got to the base, having to access the terminal, the interactions with the officer, and the killing of him. I'll start with you, Ginge.
Yeah, I mean, that was quite a cool little moment where Mando's like literally willing to forego everything about his beliefs in order to get to the child, because that's how much it means to him. You know, it's just
He
like,
loves him.
Fuck him. You know, I'll take my helmet off, show my face, whatever. You know, for the greater good kind of thing. Then after that, you kind of just fall into the territory of, okay, this is where I was like, okay, this is just Bill Burr's redemption story now. This is where they're gonna make this also out to be yet another good guy, and it's like, okay, we keep treading on this familiar territory where if somebody's slightly liked or popular, that's it. We're just gonna make them up. I suspect Moff Gideon at some point will get a bloody redemption story here. You know, but what I did like was just Bill Burr just take out his gun and shoot the guy. There was no, now we've got to try and sneak out kind of thing. Just fuck it, shot him. And talk about what happens afterwards.
Yeah, no problem. I believe sometimes redemption goes too far, but doesn't mean that certain characters still shouldn't get a redemption arc. And I was feeling this one. I really was. This one worked for me. And once again, you know, I was going to bring this up a bit later near the end, but I'll bring it up now. Bill Burr's acting was fucking fantastic. When you would see him, he was like this. Like, it reminded me of Michael Corleone in the fucking Godfather before he killed those two guys in the restaurant.
Bill Burr's a brilliant actor. He's very underrated.
But once again, it just goes to show that stand-up comedians, in my opinion, are the best actors. They are always good, all of them.
I just like, from a personal point of view, with regards to the Mandalorian as a whole, it's irrelevant, his redemption story. It's like, who cares? Like,
I understand. That's why I called it the Bill Burr episode. But I did like it I mean, like I said, it worked for me, and I kind of liked it for what it was.
That's fair.
So what about yourself, Cheeto?
I mean, yeah, I kind of figured it was coming from a mile away, the redemption story of his character. I did not like it. I mean, I saw it coming from a mile away, but
I'm not talking about the redemption just too much yet. More to do with the fact of the infiltration of the base, Mando looking at the machine.
I mean, that was fun. It was nice to kind of see the stormtroopers, like, when they're not like being invaded by rebels or Jedis or anything like what they, I mean, they're eating freaking lunch, you know, like you know, when Bill Burr shoots the guy, it's like the trooper's just kind of walking up with his tray in his hand, like, the fuck just happened? He's like, wait a minute, he didn't even know what to do. Mando taking his helmet off, I did not like this at all, only because it just feels like it's going to be now every season, and I understand why Ginger likes it, like I understand it, but from the other side of the perspective, it's like, okay, so now we're going to get the I have to take my helmet off every season moment, and this was it. Now, whether he's going to keep taking it off by the end of this season because he's kind of, whether Pedro Pascal wants to be seen more on the show in negotiations, or if it's just more like, you know, like that's the direction they want the character to go, I just don't like it.
He's going to need his image royalties at some point, so he's got to show his face in every season.
I'm not as hungover about him having to take his helmet off like you guys. Personally, I'm not
fussed.
I'm not fussed about it at all. I mean, personally, as long as he has his helmet on for most of the show, I guess that's good enough because he looks badass. And not just that, but Mandalorians generally take their fucking helmet off.
I know. And I feel like it's more conforming to, like, it's like, you know, when you get the posters for superhero movies, and it's like for Iron Man and for Spider-Man and all that, but they don't have their mask on. And it's like, no, you need that iconic image on the poster, but then you've got, like, you know, all these characters that have like their masks off and stuff on the posters. That's it. I mean, as I said, I'm
I look at it
okay
from a
with-
different perspective. I look at it from a different perspective. I look at it as that sometimes there's more important things in this world than to follow your stupid beliefs. And if your stupid beliefs means to always keep your fucking mask on while your son could possibly die, then I'd rather say fuck my stupid beliefs, take my mask off, and see what happens.
As the guy who never is seen on stream without glasses on. I'm just saying.
Well, there's a reason why, and
Oh yeah, is this the way?
yes, this is the way.
I
So,
did want to bring up one thing
yeah,
really quick, just
Yeah,
before we
go
move on to the next part. I hate also how all of a sudden they're hitting the Baby Yoda button, like like okay, so in last episode, Cara Dune was like blah 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 blah, and then they're like, well, they have the kid, and it's like okay, and then in this one, Bill Burr, who I guess he did see the child, he did see Baby Yoda like once on the whatever the ship was called. Now I don't even remember. It's blown to hell.
Maybe
Anyway.
Yoda wasn't shown once in this episode, by the way.
Yeah, I noticed that. But I'm just saying, like, Cara Dune uses well, they have his kid or whatever, and it's like I can't see Bill Burr really giving a crap. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, exactly.
I mean, like, and I know that was earlier in the episode, but I forgot to bring it up back then. But it's just like, why are they pushing the Baby Yoda button? Like, I want anyone, just to be like, and like,
I think I just look at the fact that he's doing a job. He's shaving years off his sentence.
That's because Bill Burr's a good actor, and you could see in his face the way he was acting that he was supposed to be like, oh well, now shit's real. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like I really feel like he should have just been like, and why do I care about this kid? Like
he was way too compliant throughout the whole thing.
Hmm?
He was way too compliant throughout the whole episode.
Oh yeah, he was very compliant.
Way too compliant.
I just felt like that even for a short period of time, him and Mando were in it together, and the bond grew, and they had to have each other's back in all of that shit. I mean, they had to trust each other properly.
Yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next bit.
Yeah, well, then for you then to get it and then have a problem with it, it's just weird. So whatever. All right.
Whatever.
Anyway, we have then the final action scene of the episode. Man, after obviously killing the officer, I remember that fucking Imperial officer holding that tray of food, like, what the fuck? It was just so funny, and he just starts shooting the shit out of everyone in the canteen and stuff. They got to get the fuck out of there. And I was wondering how the hell they're going to get out of there, but obviously they can pull off the blinds off the window, and they get out through the window and stuff. And Fennec and Cara Dune have got their back as snipers. They're shooting people, trying to get them as they're crawling out the window. They crawl on top of the building, and Boba Fett's coming along in Slave One, and he's there to pick him up. And as they jump onto Slave One, if you recall, Mayfeld's character is actually a sniper. He gets a sniper rifle himself, and he shoots the Ridorium, whatever you call it, and blows up the entire base and destroys everything, which was pretty cool. Now, as they're escaping, 2 TIE fighters are chasing the Slave One, and then there was this moment of thinking to myself, he has to do it. This is the perfect moment for it. Fucking seismic charge these motherfuckers, and yes, ask and you shall receive. The motherfucker dropped it. I was so happy to see it plop out of his ass, fall down there, blow the motherfuckers up. I've done it so many times in Battlefront 2. It fucking feels great. And that was such a fucking lovely moment. I fucking love every minute of that. Then they land. Bill Barr is let go because obviously they feel that he's a good guy, really, and he's done the Republic proud, and the Republic are not like the Imperials, and it kind of shows the differences right there. They are a bit different. They're more forgiving, and they see where Bill Barr's coming from, and they let him go. But I was kind of surprised Bill Barr wanted to be left on that fucking planet after what he's done. But they just leave him there and they fuck off. Now, before I get to the epilogue, what do you guys think of all of that shit? I'll start with you, Ginge.
So from the minute they start the shootout in the canteen right up until the Slave One comes along, great action scene, lovely bit of sniping, bit of shooting, bit of this and that, really well shot, really well done. it didn't actually feel out of place or stupid at this point because it makes sense. You're in the base, you got to get the fuck out. You go to the roof because there's a ship coming. Then when the slave one's flying away and the TIE fighters are chasing, you just know that the that fucking bomb was coming, and audibly it's such a beautiful sound. It really is. Even though when it happened in episode 2, it made no sense because in
space.
Sound in space. But okay, fuck it. So yeah, I mean, again, visually it was a beautiful moment. It was an eye-rolling moment as well, but visually it was nice to kind of see. And the Bill Barr thing, yeah, again, saw this one coming a mile away. They're gonna pretend he's dead, and then he's like, right, off you go.
Oh yeah, they pretended they said he died and stuff. But I liked it. It worked for me, man. I really did. It worked, and it was predictable, 100%. I'll give you that. I mean, we all thought fucking what's his face was going to get the armor at the end of episode 1, and he didn't. So even though that wasn't predictable, and this was, it kind of felt right for what it was. And we want more of Bill Burr, don't we? We want to see him again.
I don't really give a shit.
Really, I like it.
Don't give a shit. I like Bill Burr, but I don't care.
I like the character a lot, and he's warmed to my heart. Cousin Cheeto.
You're still muted.
Yeah, you're muted. Muted.
Sorry. I'm kind of done with his character too. I mean, Bill Barr's a great actor, but I mean the redemption arc kind of killed it for me. I'm not going to say it was out of place, and I'm not even saying it was poorly done. I just feel like it was just like another eye-rolling moment. You got Boba Fett, and I'm not shitting on Boba Fett. Like, I'm not turning this into a shit on Boba Fett, but you got Boba Fett, who is in the last episode. Now he's an honorable character, and now he's going with them to help them get the child because of honor code. And I never really got that. And now this episode, you've got this redemption arc for, Bill Burr's character. And it's just like, it's more eye rolling, it's just eye rolling moments that I'm just kind of meh.
No problem. Well, it wasn't like the Boba Fett episode, which was a good thing in a way. I mean, he was there, but he wasn't really there much, which was pretty cool. Okay, it was good, and we got to see good parts with the slave one as well. So we're on to the epilogue now, and it's very simple. Moff Gideon's on his cruiser, and he gets a message on his cruiser. Now, for him to get a message on his cruiser is from someone like the Mandalorian would be pretty impossible unless they were able to do what they did. And he basically monologues to him exactly what he said to him in season 1. And I saw fear in Moff Gideon's face. I mean, he's dealt with Mando before, and he can't kill him. And now Mando's communicating to him through his channels, saying he's coming after him. Amazing. I loved it. Great way to end. I have no idea how episode 8 is going to be. It's very open. I mean, it could be anything. It really could be. I do hope for an Empire win, though. Yeah, I mean, I want to see Moff Gideon win. If he doesn't win on episode 8, I want him to be killed off. But nevertheless, it was a very interesting way to end the episode. What do you think, Cousin Cheeto?
I thought it was pretty good. I would disagree a little bit. I didn't see fear in Moff Gideon's face. I saw more like
concern.
Just like
he looked worried.
I think he's like work mode, like he's like, bring it, bitch. Like I think that's kind of what I didn't see fear. I didn't see concern.
Surprise, maybe. Well, whatever it was, I think whatever it was you think it was in his face, I felt it was negative to how he's from seeing Mando's appearance on the screen, and it wasn't a positive reaction, and that's basically it. That's how I look at it.
I did, however, at the end want it to be. It's a little bit cheesy, but I wanted at the end, like after the message was sent, it kind of scrolls out from his light cruiser, and like it shows Slave One attached to the back, like the Millennium Falcon was on the back of that Star Destroyer. And Boba Fett kind of learned that from Han Solo. But so the next episode we start off right there, like they are ready to go after him.
You're in the space garbage, following him.
Well, I mean, like, no, they're attached to the side of because remember, in the start, and I mean, it would just been a nice throwback to like the Hans, because Boba Fett was there when Han Solo did that in Empire. So it just I thought that would have been a great way to end it. Is like, he sends a message, and then they kind of scroll out from the Star Destroyer, and on the back end of their ship is Slave One sitting there. Next episode, man, we jump right into it. We got a whole episode we got one episode left to wrap this shit up. And
it's not going to be just wrapped up. I think there's going to be lots of things that needs to be wrapped up in season 3. So I don't feel I don't think there's going to be much wrapped up at all. It'll be wrapped up in the sense regarding either Moff Gideon winning or losing. If he wins, then we've got more shit to go on, more branching storylines. But there's also the same with Baby Yoda. Is he going to go to a Jedi? Does a Jedi appear in this next episode? There's so many things. I really don't feel everything's going to be concluded in this last episode. I think there's going to be a lot more shit that needs to be done for the next season. Ginge? Anyway, sorry, Ginge. What you got to say?
Yeah, well, that last moment, it was, there was a little bit of surprise in Moff Gideon's face. And then it was more like, all right, bring it on. Kind of thing. It was a nice scene. It was a nice reversal of roles. But moving on from that part, this was just a waste of time. This whole episode. I'm sorry, it just shouldn't have fucking happened. There should have been a lot more Moff Gideon and Baby Yoda exploring that kind of area. Because now we're just going to get a final episode that, just like the other final episode, everything's just going to feel rushed. And it's just going to have these little moments of, ooh, and it's like, come on, man.
33 minutes.
Just hated this whole episode. I hated it for what it was. Not that it was a bad episode, just where it was placed. And that was just a fucking waste, a complete waste.
I feel like we still need another episode. We need 2 more episodes. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I feel like, if this was episode 7 of 9, 7 of 9. If this was episode 7 of 9, I mean, it'd be a little bit better. But it's like we got 1 episode left. Like, that's it.
Yeah, given the situation, I didn't care for Bill Burr getting Bill Burr. God damn it, I've done a fucking damn there. I didn't care for Bill Burr getting a redemption. It's like, I don't care. What is this weird world building that's going on in Mandalorian? It just feels so out of place at times.
I feel like Mandalorian season 2 is kind of like the Iron Man 2, where they're like trying to world build too much within the confines of this season. And I feel like this is like the Iron Man 2 of Mandalorian.
I agree. And it's a shame because a lot of the episodes in this have been really good in terms of building Mandalorian's own world and the Baby Yoda and all of this stuff. That stuff has been really good, but it's also been kind of juxtaposed with all the other stuff that's been happening, the kind of world building. So you know that those squadron guys that were in the other episodes, now we know they're getting a spin-off, and that will probably be Cara Dune will be in that, and we know that Ahsoka Tano. Well, I mean, everyone and their mother predicted that there was going to be a spin-off. The minute they
my mom called me and said Ahsoka's getting a series. And then she's like, but who's Ahsoka?
The minute they mentioned I forgot his name now, your favorite guy.
Boba?
No, not Boba. The guy she was looking for.
Thrawn.
Yeah, as soon as they mentioned Thrawn, that was it. It's like, okay, no, we're getting an Ahsoka spin-off, and we know what that's going to be. And we know that the Ahsoka, Mandalorian, and I think is it something of the New Republic?
The New Republic?
Yeah, that one.
Rogue Squadron as well.
One big event down the line. All 3 of those are going to tie into one big event. So nobody's going anywhere anytime soon. That being said, I hope Mandalorian season 3 isn't just more world building, and it is just, Mando doing his kind of thing. We've got well-established characters now. We don't need to be fucking around. Obviously, there's going to be introduction of classic characters here and there, which it's fine, But the final episode, I'd rather it finished on a downer. I'd rather it finished with Mando losing, because you need to build strong villains in this, and we want to see Moff Gideon. Yeah.
Oh, what if they ended it? And I'm gonna throw a prediction out there. What if they ended it with, with Moff Gideon winning, them like throwing Mando on a planet and like taking all his armor. So like, he's exposed. He doesn't have any of his Beskar, and they just throw him on a planet. And like at the end of it, and like you complete, that's a way to kind of get Moff where it's like complete dishonor on him, like on Mando. Everybody sees his face. I feel like that would be like the most impactful end to that season and kind of tie in the whole taking off the mask thing.
It would be great. That would be the perfect ending to season 2, because then it gives you something to really look forward to in season 3. That won't get derailed with a lot of filler episodes, hopefully. So I love that idea.
Well, do you think the Seeing Stone scenario will be done in next week's episode, or will you think that will be left for season 3?
I honestly this is the problem that season 1 had. There was way too much shit that they were trying to wrap up at the into the end of in one episode, because this exact same thing was what we were talking about when season 1 episode 8 was coming out. Is like there's so much shit to do and there's like one episode left. Like
minutes.
Yeah, and it's only going to be a 30-minute episode.
Wait, episode 8 is going to be 30 minutes?
Probably, yeah.
Well, it's not been confirmed, but
I say last season episode 8 was 49, 50 minutes. It was close to 50 minutes.
I hope this is the same, because it needs to be.
Yeah, but I still feel like there's way too many loose ends. I mean, Ahsoka's not. I don't think Ahsoka's showing. That was purely for spin-off purposes. I don't think she's showing back up in the end.
Yeah, that was literally for spin-off purposes.
What about the Owl Squad or whatever the fuck Owl Squad?
I feel like they might show up. Obviously Bulba's gonna be there. Cara Dune, Ming Yang Wei's character. I can't ever remember her name. Fennec. I feel like that's going to be, as I said a week or two ago, like they're doing what they did in season 1. They're building the squad for the season finale now. Like, and maybe Bill Burr's character will show up. I hope not.
I don't think so.
Okay. I mean, it's iffy, but still, I mean,
we need a death. No, we need a death.
Yeah, hopefully Boba Fett.
Yeah, probably Boba Fett. I mean, because Mando needs a ship, and I don't feel like they're going to leave Bulba and Mando for season 3. I think Bulba's leaving or Bulba's dying and Mando gets Slave 1.
Yeah, because we never got an announcement for a Boba Fett series.
Yeah, that's true. There were a lot of announcements and no Boba Fett. So
yeah, so we're hoping he gets killed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this show, by the way, I was expecting Nick Frost. Unfortunately, we didn't see him, even though we saw a picture of him in the previous episode. Once again, no Grogu, got redemption for Mayfield, and Mando had no scars on his face, even though he had shitloads before, which was a bit weird. He looked good. It was a bit weird. You find how fresh he looked when he took his helmet off?
Yeah, I mean but that's what I'm saying. Like they took the helmet off, and you figure in season 1 they showed it, and he was sweaty and he was yada yada. But I mean, he looked too pretty, now. And I agree. That's why I didn't. When he took the mask off, I'm like, wow, it's pretty Pedro Pascal.
Do you have a problem with it, Ginge? Do you think he looked a bit too fresh? No, I didn't care. I didn't care, to be honest. Better ventilation in the Stormtrooper masks, probably. They got to dry out while he was out there fighting those pirates.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you see.
Fair enough. Anything more you guys want to say before we wrap this thing up?
No, I'm good.
Justice for Grogu. He was not in this episode.
Okie dokie. Well, tomorrow we'll be on just talking about everything that's happened this week. And there's a lot of shit that's happened this week. I hope I can remember what's happened this week tomorrow. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on Facebook and Discord. Look at the logo on YouTube. We have that on Facebook and Discord. Subscribe to that shit too. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day. Live long and prosper.
Live long and